remember about Athol when you were raising kids here?
It was a very good town to raise children in because, one of the reasons because I lived close to the schools and because all my kids were involved in sports like I was, so because I had to keep driving them back and forth, and they had a Y to send the kids down to the YMCA. They had a very good Little League program. I think the school system was very good, and there was quite a bit to do when they had a movie theater then and bowling alleys. You know, there was a lot more to do in those days than there is now in Athol. You know, so there was anything we wanted to do, we could do. The kids had fun, and you know, we could take them to. I always went to the games, of course, but they had a good school system, and it was a good place to bring up a family.
What was your favorite thing to do with your kids?
Probably go to their games because they were all involved in sports, and I just loved watching them, grow from little league up to junior varsity to play varsity. You watch them as they grow, you know. And in my best recollections, 2 seniors and 2 juniors, I had the varsity soccer team up at Athol High School. I had 4 grandsons playing on the varsity. I had 2 on offense and 2 on defense. So no matter which end of the field I looked at, I had 2 grandsons out there playing varsity soccer. You know, I said not many people can say that. And so it was really enjoyable when they go up there and do that. But I went to all my daughter's games. I had 2 real good. The daughters were excellent athletes. They excelled in college and everything. So, and we used to go to their games down to college. One went to Bryant. One went to Bridgewater. And we drive down to those games, and it was nice following them through. Very, very much backed them in everything, in all their sports endeavors, and I think it made them turn out to be better kids also because of the sports.
What was your impression of the people here when you moved here?
Actually, I think they were a very friendly town. Again, I think it's partly because of my job. Because working in a laboratory over the years, I don't think I can go anywhere in the surrounding towns and everybody says, "Hi Tim, how you doing?" This stuff, and I do not remember their names but they saw me in the hospital and they took their blood, you know. They know you, so I just can't remember their names, but they were all friendly, you know, and no matter where I worked, and I did a lot of part-time work for different people in town, and 99% of the people were nice to your family growing up and this stuff, you know. It was a good place to raise kids. Our neighbors were the Kendricks. When I lived on uptowns with the Kendricks, there was an elderly couple. Their kids were long grown up, and the house the other side of us was a doctor's office, so really didn't have any young neighbors, you know. But the Kendricks were excellent people. They were very nice, and their first apartment was on Pequog Avenue, and our landlord was probably the nicest landlord that's ever existed on the face of the earth. Him and his wife, I think our rent was $65 a month, and they took a liking to us, and my son Timmy was probably 2 years old then. What landlord would say at Christmas time? They said, if you don't want to pay your rent this month for Christmas, you know, because you got a son, it's okay. I go, it's like, how often would you get that today, you know? But they would let you skip a month or this stuff because they were that kind of people, you know. Took part in the 76th parade. They had the big parade here in town. I was in that representing the hospital. And I got involved down here in the senior center. Put a lot of time in down here now. I did a little for the Little Leagues when my son was coaching. I helped him coach down there some. And I was always involved with things in the high school for sports with my kids. Whatever they had fundraisers or anything, I always helped out doing that, you know. Yep. And then we get in the Legion home, the American Legion, and that has a lot to do with the towns too. Believe it or not, they had a statue of some guy made a wooden horse, and I had a Minuteman's costume or gear on, you know, with a tri-hat and a musket, and rode that all the way from the high school all the way down to the parking lot here. And it probably took an hour riding down there because it went so slow, that parade. And it was pretty sore by the time we got sitting down here. I was glad to get off that wooden horse, I'll tell you. But yeah, I was a Minuteman coming down through. Yeah, but it was a big parade. It was.
How was it like being in the costume?
Oh, I don't mind. That's neat. I kind of thought it was kind of cool, representing an old Minuteman coming down through there, And the poor guy driving the truck was it was all covered up with decorations, and it was like 85 degrees outside, and it was the old trucks that didn't have air conditioning. And when we got in the parking lot out here, he got out and he was drenched with sweat. It was so hot inside that truck. I felt sorry for him, but yeah, but I was pretty cool up there, But
did you ever participate in the river rat race?
yes, my brother and I we were probably in a river rat race 10 or 12 times. Yeah, and it was my brother Bill, who was in I think 10 or 12. The best we did the first year, I think it was 2 years after I got out of service. We came in 13th, and that's back before the money got involved, and when more money came in, then the professionals started coming in, and in my estimation, that's what wrecked the river rat race, because then it was all local guys, beer drinking guys who was in for the fun of it, and you had fun all day long. But the minute money got involved, you had out-of-staters coming in from New York and all over, and us local guys, our canoes weren't racing canoes, believe me. We didn't stand a chance, But it was fun in those days. Yeah, we had a lot of years that we was in that. We used to have a big party at the Armory in Orange after, where they gave out the prizes, and it was quite a day. It was a long day. It was good, but it was fun for both towns, and it made a lot of money. Brought a lot of money into both towns that day, Yeah, but it was fun.
Did you ever end up winning any prizes?
No, the best we came in was 13th. That was year there was like 300 canoes in it, so we did all right of course we was young then. I think I was 21 or 22. My brother was probably 26, but so that made a big difference.
Did you ever engage with the local politics?
Not too much. Don't run for politics. I somehow express my opinion a lot. Sometimes I write articles in the paper about things that the town's going to vote on or something. But I don't have the time to spend, if I ran on one of the committees or something and got elected, and if I didn't have the time to do it, I didn't want to do it, because if you can't do a good job, donate your time, then I wasn't going to do it, But I always had 4 kids growing up and all, till they graduated from high school and college. It's always, that time comes first, and by then, it was in your 50s and 60s, so no, but I'm not afraid to express my opinion on a lot of things about the town's politics, and if they take advantage of it or not, but that's their say. But I still have my opinions, and thank God I'm entitled to them, But no, I never ran for office or anything, only because I couldn't have that time to. If I was going to do it, I wanted to do it 100%, so I could do it to director on the board down here at the senior center, because this is an excellent place, the senior center for the town. Hopefully the town knows what they have here. I think there's 3 entities that probably run this town, and that's the school, the police, and the fire departments. And I think there's a lot of wasted money. I think, and don't get me wrong, the people, the firemen and the police, they are excellent people. They do an excellent job. But I think they just don't know. They seem like they want everything new that comes along and all this stuff. And it's a poor town, and the elderly people just cannot afford that. But it doesn't seem to bother them, And like I said, it's true, because they do an excellent job. I have 100% respect for all of them. But they just got to remember that these people can't afford to keep paying through the nose in their taxes for some of this stuff. And like I said, the school systems, enrollment's down and everything, but there's no teachers or higher echelon that's gone down, and I think some of those could be disappear, and not make any effect on the quality of education, you know. But that's my opinion.